Hello. I don't know how many people are here. 3 people? Can you hear me? Can you let me know if you can hear me? Basically, this is my new series. It's called Sit Down with Sophia, and it's a live streaming series. So, yeah, I don't know how many people are actually here. So I'll just give it a few minutes before we actually get going. But if you can hear me, can you just let me know in the live chat thing? Okay, good. I've never done this before, so I really hope this works, and I kind of want to make this like a weekly thing. I've planned it out for the next 4 weeks, really. So if all goes well today, I will do this every week, basically. So hello to everyone who is here. Today's episode, if you like, is going to be talking about the transition from GCSEs to A-levels and also what A-levels are like. But I will just explain very quickly what this series is and basically how you can get involved with it. So every single Wednesday at 5 p.m, I'm going to try my best to do a live stream like this. It's probably going to last about half an hour maximum. And I just want to kind of keep these as short episodes. Might be 20 minutes, might be 15. It obviously depends on what topic I'm looking at. So this week, like I said, it's about the transition from GCSE to A-levels. I would like to do one eventually just on A-levels in general for all of you going to sixth form or in sixth form or whatever it is already. Next week, I'm going to be talking about my experience of learning how to drive. And then the week after, I think it's about like university. And I've also got one looking at friendships and relationship issues and dealing with like your dilemmas, obviously anonymously. So for any of these upcoming streams, if you ever have questions, just leave them in the comments section below. But I did manage to collect some questions over the past week or so for today's stream, and if you sent in a question, you're basically also going to get a shout out in this video. So thank you so much to everyone who has sent in a question. When I get to the end of these, if you still have any questions, just leave them in the chat thing and we can go through and answer them. But yeah, I'm going to get started now. I hope you're ready. Give it a thumbs up if you're ready, and let's go. So the first question I got asked was from Holly Akins, and she said, did you do any work over the summer other than what the college or sixth form set you? And to be honest with you, no, I didn't. So my college did actually set us work. They said, oh, you have to do this. For geography, it was just basically doing some notes from the textbook. For sociology, it was something very similar. And yeah, again, just looking at a general piece, and it was kind of just testing your skills. So obviously I did all the work that was set because that was being marked, and I kind of knew I had to get it done, as when I enrolled they were basically going to be checking that. But aside from that, I literally didn't do anything. I think obviously it depends on what subject you're going to study. If you're going to study something like maybe maths or science or something that you're continuing on from GCSE, you may want to keep your knowledge nice and fresh. I know with geography and media, it was good just to try and keep up with that terminology. So I did that probably like the week before I started. But with something like sociology that I'd never done before, I literally just did all the work that I was set. And I don't think you need to do anything more, because it's basically like going back to square one. With a lot of subjects, especially if there's a lot of people who've not done them for GCSE. So for like sociology, not every school offers that, then you don't need to worry about doing anything extra, because they kind of just bring it all back to basics for you. So to put it simply, no, I only did the work that was set by the college. Susanna Emily asked, do you think BTECs deserve the snub that they get? And my simple answer is no. I think a lot of people frown upon a BTEC and they don't see it as important as like an A-level. And to be honest, I've got friends who have done BTECs, and I have seen the amount of work they've had to put in their coursework. Coursework is so time consuming, even in an A-level subject. But some BTECs, like a level 3 BTEC, which is literally the only one you do, obviously that takes a lot more time and work, and the coursework has to be to a really good standard because your grade solely relies on that. So I don't think they deserve the stuff they get. I do understand people are saying, oh, well, how is a distinction equivalent to an A or whatever? It's not the same. And I can see where like people are coming from, but I think just the two test very different skills. And that is also the reason why they are given different grades, if that makes sense. Jess D asked, is it worth preparing over the summer? Obviously, right now, you've probably got an extremely long summer. You would have finished exams by now. I know I would have done for A-levels, and for GCSE, I remember finishing around this time of year. So obviously, you've got a very long summer now. So if you do want to prepare, I don't think there's any harm in doing that. But obviously, you don't need to. And to be honest, just enjoy this summer and take a break. I know that you've not probably had much work to do since probably April, May time. And if you are feeling bored, do feel free to like do something. I would say just you know, do some extra reading around the subjects you're doing, and I'm sure colleges will be setting work soon. My brother was in year 11 this year, so he's obviously going to college in September, and they're setting him work in July for the rest of the summer. So yeah, if you've got time, feel free to do stuff, but I don't think you really need to prepare for anything, as like I said, they basically take you from scratch in September when you join, and everyone's kind of like put back to place. It's like basically starting school all over again, really. Zara asked, is the workload easier or harder now that you have 3 subjects? And I think this is a really good one, actually, because for GCSE, you went from doing like 8 to 10 subjects or whatever, and then you go down to 3. Obviously, some people do 4. And I would say parts of it make the workload more manageable, and at the same time, you're doing a lot more work. So I think what it is when you've got 8 subjects, whether you're being tested on 8 very different skills, whereas with A-levels, it's like 3 subjects. So I'd say you're being set a lot more work, but you don't really notice it as much because it's for 3 subjects. Whereas I remember when I was doing my GCSEs and you'd have work for all these subjects, it would feel like a lot of weight and a lot of pressure just because you had so many different things to do. So I would say in some respects, the workload is easier because it's 3 subjects and you can put all your time and effort into these 3 subjects. But at the same time, you will probably get a little bit bored occasionally because it does get repetitive and you kind of do start to miss certain things. I know my subjects were very essay based. Obviously, that's debatable if you think a 20 marker in geography is an essay, but to me, it felt like that. And there were times when I was like, oh, I really just missed maths, where there was like a simple, well, not simple, but, you know, like a straightforward answer. And, you know, you were actually working things out rather than writing. So, yeah, to put it simply, sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder. The next question is from @Kieran.Sidhux. I hope I've said that right on Instagram. And they said, what is the most difficult thing about A-levels? And I think the most difficult thing is just getting your head around it, really, and seeing that transition from GCSE to A-levels. As like I said, you're going from literally doing so many different subjects to 3 things that you want to specialize in. So I would say probably the hardest thing is just that adjustment period. I would say probably by December time, you will feel good. And when you come back after Christmas, you will definitely have settled in and you will know what you're doing with your life and you know how to manage your workload. And this is actually a tip of mine. From September, when you get your timetable, really look at it and start planning out days that you're going to do your work. Obviously, this will depend on when your work gets set, but a lot of my teachers were very good where we'd get set the work on the Monday and it would be due the following Monday, and I would try and then pencil in on my timetable when I wanted to do that work, and it kind of got me into this routine. So I actually had, on a Monday, I'd finish at 11:45, and I'd be set sociology work on that Monday, so I get it done on that Monday. And then I think same with like geography work or something, I would try and get that done. If it was due on the Wednesday, I'd try and do it like the Wednesday. So I try and do it like a week in advance, and then the night before just refresh myself on that. So yeah, try and get yourself into that kind of habit, really. The same person also asked, what is A-level geography like? If you want me to do like a whole video on that, I can, because obviously not everyone here is going to be going on to study A-level geography, but I guess this kind of applies for any subject, something like geography, which is a GCSE, and a lot of the time if you're going to study it for A-level, you will have done it for GCSE. So if you're going on to do something like history or English literature or anything like that, I would say you will notice a jump from GCSE to A-level, and that's more just terms of like like terminology changes. And I don't know whether that's because I went from being on AQA to EdXL, but I did notice, especially with things like tectonics, terminology changes. But it's more just the way that you're answering an exam question. At GCSE, I think looking back, it was very easy to get marks, and it was just very easy to kind of guess things or waffle a little bit and just hope for the best. Whereas at A-level, you've got to be very specific and you need to show the examiner or the marker, whoever it is, that you've done extra research. You are not taught case studies as such. You will have some which are compulsory, and you can see that in the specification, and they will be in your textbook. But not every single thing in your textbook is like compulsory. But if you can show the examiner, like I said, that you've done extra reading, so I would go off and research other case studies I could use. That's what they're kind of looking for. And that goes for like all A-level subjects. I know it's the same with sociology. We had to show that we had this extra knowledge and that we'd done independent research. So to put it simply, A-level geography is great. I think I really enjoyed it. At the start, I was hating it. I was thinking, oh my God, what have I done? And that was because we started with tectonics and I was not a fan of physical geography. That's kind of what put me off in the first place. But once we got into it, I would say after October half term, we did globalization, which was obviously human geography. I really fell in love with it and I was enjoying it a lot more. And the course is actually, it's still like 4 physical and 4 human topics, but there's a lot more human in the physical topics that you'll soon begin to realize than like physicalness. So if you are someone who loves human geography like me and you're worried about the course, obviously I was on EdXL, so I can't speak for everything, but you will eventually like enjoy it and you'll think, okay, I haven't made the worst decision ever. And also you get to go on trips because you have to have completed a certain amount of field work. So we got to go to like the local seafront. We went to London literally just before lockdown. Actually, it was like a week or 2 before we went to the Docklands. We went to a local town around here, and obviously where my college was, we did research. And then I also went to Croatia about this time last year, just a little bit later, on a trip. So you know, you get really good trips out of geography, basically. Anna_Essen asked, is it weird going from a full timetable to having freeze? Yes, at the start, I actually really enjoyed the fact that my timetable was just so flexible. So my timetable was 8:30 to 11:45 on a Monday, 8:30 till 5:20 on a Tuesday, 12:30 till 3:45 on a Wednesday and Thursday, and then Fridays for a long time. I literally just had tutor on a Friday, which was like a waste of my time, and then EPQ got added on. And then I finished that, so I had Fridays off. So I would say when you get freeze, it's actually really exciting. And do not feel guilty if you just spend your freeze doing no work, okay? I can tell you so many times that I literally would just sit in my freeze doing nothing. Now, a lot of the freeze that I had, when you think about it, is so a lot of the freeze that I had were kind of like at home. And it was only really on a Tuesday that I actually had a gap when I was still at college, because I had to wait around for like my lesson between 10 and like 2 or something, and there was no point going home. Whereas every other day my lessons were like back to back, and that's why I really liked. They were an hour and a half long, so it was like 3 hours a day basically I was in. So yeah, some of my frees were literally like at home, and I didn't see the point of staying at college or being at college because I sometimes just found that I would work better at home. I'd be able to like get on, and especially something like geography where I needed my textbook and I didn't want to carry that around college. That was easy to do at home. But I can tell you, on a Tuesday, I used to have like this 4-hour gap until my tutor got put in. But even like after we did all the UCAS stuff, and it was Oxbridge, so obviously that was done a lot earlier on, it just kept getting cancelled. So in this 4-hour gap, I think I'd spent more time just chatting than I actually did working. And I feel like that's okay, because you do need that time to actually just socialise with people. And, you know, if you wanted to work, you would go to the library. And if you knew you kind of wanted to do a bit of work, but also have a chat, you'd sit in the canteen. And I actually think it was really important to have that time to just chat and you're free. So it is a little bit weird at the start. You're thinking, oh my God, I should be in a lesson right now. And your timetable isn't like go, go, go. But you will get used to it. Is this live? Yeah, this is live right now. I'm literally like taking questions and answering them and doing all that. And for people asking, I did sociology, media studies, geography, and I did an EPQ. So get my results in August, which is a little bit nerve-wracking. Right, so I'm going to carry on with some of the questions that I already been asked. So Lena asked me, how much revision do you advise doing daily? I think this really depends. So I think in the first year, I didn't go home every day and revise as such. And I know people are always like, you need to start revising as soon as your A-levels start, you need to go. And honestly, you don't. I haven't sat the exams, obviously, this summer, so I can't speak for that. But I'm going to go off my mocks, because that kind of was like the closest thing we're going to get. So I would say, for terms of revision, when you've got an assessment or a test, then start revising for that subject. So let's say I would have a sociology assessment on like a Monday, and they would give us like 2 weeks warning. So for those 2 weeks, I just do little things every day, and like the night before, I'd obviously do a lot more. And then when it came to mocks, I think I started revising like 4 weeks before, because I was still being set so much work, and they didn't really like think about that. When the like study leave started for mocks, it was like my mocks were in the first 3 days, so that didn't really help me at all, and I had so much time off afterwards just to do my EPQ. So I would say you don't need to be revising daily. If you do want to, maybe like an hour a day, but you've got to remember this is 3 subjects, and we were being set 4.5 hours worth of homework per subject per week. So that was a lot of work as it was. So to try and add revision in wasn't always the most simplest thing, but it is doable. So I'd say if you do want to do revision daily, maybe do an hour a day, and then you can decide like if you want to do an hour a day for one subject, or if you want to split your time up or whatever. But you don't need to be revising daily. I would say when it got to about January time this year, then I did start doing like daily revision. But it wasn't like essential. Everyone was like, you need to start doing revision. And I was just being set so much work and I had so much coursework. It was actually getting like difficult to revise. But I just felt like I had a lot of knowledge in my head already because we were doing so many mocks, so many assessments. So it was fine. Gosh, I've been chatting for 15 minutes. I haven't talked this long in ages. Lena also asked, how did you plan out your day or evening after coming home from college? So like I said, you've got freeze and it's crazy, and a lot of my days I would come home from college, or whether that was in the afternoon or pretty much still in the morning, and when I came home I'd obviously like have a little bit of time to chill, so I'd give myself like an hour where I could just come home and like relax a little bit, because also traveling on a train every day, walking to and from a station, is quite like a lot of work. I'd be pretty knackered. And then I would say in the evening, like I mentioned earlier, I kind of just planned out which days of the week I wanted to do my homework. The only bugbear was that with media, it was never predictable. We did eventually get into this cycle where like we'd have homework due like every Wednesday, and then kind of changed to you've got homework due tomorrow, and then it would obviously disrupt my schedule. But I would say to try and plan your day, like I said, look at your timetable, look at when work's due, and then try and get into that routine of every day coming home to do the same thing, really. The next question I got was from, I'm so sorry if I pronounced this wrong, Hepzeba Rose, and she said, did you find it hard to have a job or do YouTube and revise? So if you didn't know, in September 2018, which is literally when I started my A-levels, I was working at Tesco. It was about 7.5 hours per week, and that was fine. That was manageable. And the weekend before mocks, I literally booked off that weekend and it was good, and that was fine. I could like revise in the week, and I was still having time when I was coming home from work. Then I got into like second year, so this was September 2019, and the workload dramatically increased. It became very heavy at college, and by the end of September I had to like leave my job because they kept increasing the hours of work. So I was doing nearly 20 hours a week of work at Tesco, and I was like, this isn't doable. My college just said maximum 8 to 10 hours a week anyway, because they think that's manageable for an A-level student, and it just got too much. So I would say in the first year, you can definitely have a job and work, but in the second year, it's a bit tough. And obviously right now, looking at it, like it would be nice to have a job in this current climate, but yeah, I would say it is manageable in the first year. In the second year, you might have to like have a look around at it and think about it a bit more. And then in terms of YouTube, if I didn't have that job, I think doing YouTube and like basically college work and revision, that would be fine, because a lot of my content I could do both at the same time. I loved filming a study with me because I was doing like 2 things at once, whereas because I was doing a job, college work and YouTube, it became a lot, and I just like found it very heavy. And I don't really earn much money off YouTube, to be honest with you. I was earning more money at Tesco, and the money's not about it for me. Like I don't care about that, but I enjoyed YouTube, and I feel like this is very flexible, whereas the job wasn't. So if you're out here and watching this and you are about to do your A-levels and you're worried about your YouTube channel or any social media platform that you run, don't panic, because it's on your terms at least, and you can fit that around. So like I took quite a big break from YouTube to really focus on my studying, and I don't regret that at all, because when you do take a break from something like that, you can definitely see a dramatic rise in your grades. So basically when I did my mocks, I came out with 3 A stars, and that was with a job. And then obviously the job got really tough, and sometimes you would dip down to an A and you think, oh god, like I've gone to an A from an A star. I mean, although that's still really good, you'd like have this in the back of your head. And then as soon as I quit my job, my grades were like consistent the whole time. So yes, I would say kind of manageable, but you might have to evaluate it in the second year. But obviously it's depending on your work and how flexible your employers are as well, because mine weren't that great. I feel like I've answered every single question I've got written down here. So last one is, how did you choose your subjects? So initially I was going to do English literature instead of geography, and then I changed my mind because I discovered by the time I'd finished doing my GCSEs, I absolutely hated English, and I didn't want to read another book and study Shakespeare or poetry ever again. And geography was something I'd always loved, and my teacher was like desperate for me to take it, and I was very glad I took it because it was one of my best GCSEs. So I would say when you're going to choose your A-levels, because even if you've chosen them right now, which I imagine you have, you can still change them. I think my college allowed you to change them up until 4 weeks after you joined, so that was like beginning of October, and obviously it is a lot to catch up on by that point. But you've got to be able to study something for 2 years that you really, really enjoy. So I'd say the first thing you need to think about is, do you have a facilitating subject? It's not the end of the world if you don't. And it also depends on, if you have an idea in mind, let's say you want to go study something creative at uni or something that you don't need that facilitating subject for, it's chill. But I had in mind that I just wanted just one, at least just one. And for me, that was geography in the end. And then I also thought about, right, I want to take a subject that I enjoy, like that I know I enjoy. And that was media. Sorry, got the hay fever coming through. And again, I'd done that for GCSE, so I knew what I was going for. I thought, it's a little bit different, but it was still good. And then I wanted another subject that just sounded really interesting to me, and that was sociology. So when you are picking your A-levels and you're just sat there thinking, I don't know what to do, if you really, really don't know what to do in terms of your life, like when you leave college, I would say pick subjects that are quite broad and quite facilitating. So things like maths, geography, history, those kind of things, because that like leads you into so many doors. Sociology, psychology, you've got options here. Whereas if you do know what you want to do, like medicine, obviously you've got to do maths, biology and chemistry and further maths if you can do that, So yeah, when you're picking your A-levels, just think about what you enjoy and anything like that. Right, so I've answered all the questions I've got written down. So if you've got any other questions that I've not answered, feel free to leave them. And I'm just going to have a quick scroll through the comments and see what else. And then probably do this for about 8 minutes, and then that will be us. So I've told you, yeah, I've talked about what A-levels I've taken and the jump. Do you have to spend a lot of money on revision? Honestly, no. You can literally use Quizlet, which is a free flashcard platform. And one of my biggest advices, if that doesn't make any sense, but like one of my biggest pieces of advice is that make flashcards for your A-level subjects. For literally every subject, I use flashcards, whether that was on paper or on Quizlet. They're currently all buried like under my bed right now. But you honestly don't need to spend a lot of money. A lot of resources are online these days, and there's so many platforms out there that you can use that. And, things like paper you can pick up pretty cheaply or get it from college for free anyway. What was your favourite thing about year 13? This is actually a really good question. I think my favourite thing was just like spending time with people. I know this sounds really stupid, and I just feel like I was so cheated of a year because it ended in March. We didn't go through those like last 3 months of like the full experience. I just still feel like it hasn't been completed in a way, and I'm just waiting for like results day, and fingers crossed we can do something about it. But in year 13, I think as stressed as everyone was at times, everyone was also just really chilled, and everyone knew like this is the last year you're going to be at college in like a proper school environment. Still, college was very grown up. It was like mini uni, but still like with your teachers, and everyone's just trying to have a good time. And I think that was my favorite thing. Like in year 13, I didn't say like I didn't not care about things, but I wasn't like as such a perfectionist, and I knew like how to let go and how to like actually enjoy life as well as like college. So I think that was my favorite thing. Like I just really, and also end of year 12 met like a whole great bunch of people as well. So going into year 13, that was even better. Oh, this is moving. Now looking back, would you still go to a college or sixth form? Yes. So I'm going to quickly explain. A sixth form is like attached to a school, and a college is just for year 12s and 13s, like A-levels and BTECs. And looking back now, there's no way I would have stayed at my school's sixth form, like absolutely no way. My brother said the same thing. He's obviously going to the college that I went to, and he can't wait to leave. He's in like, this is like looking at me 2 years ago of how excited I was to get out of school and go to a proper adult environment. And yeah, there's no way I would change my mind. Like if I was a year 11 right now, I'd 100% go to college over sixth form. Obviously, it's dependent on like if the college in your area is good, but the college was way better than my school sixth form as it was. So yeah, definitely wouldn't change my mind ever again. Could we see your new laptop? I'm actually streaming on my laptop, so I can't see it, but it's a MacBook Pro if anyone was interested. Do you have a degree? No, I'm going in September to study criminology with quantitative research methods. So there we go. Why do you personally think you got rejected from Cambridge, since you did deserve to go there? Well, first of all, thank you. I got feedback, and basically, if you are new to my channel or you didn't know, I applied to go study human, social and political sciences at Pembroke College at Cambridge, and did the interviews and all that. And then I got an email, obviously on like Judgment Day, as I call it, and they said I didn't get in, and they put me in a pool, which basically means they think you're good enough, but they can't take you. They haven't got the space or whatever. But then there was like nowhere else that could take me. So obviously it's a little bit disappointing, but whatever. And literally the feedback form literally just said like the GCSE grades, they wanted people who pretty much had all 8s and 9s, whether that was just because this year was extremely competitive. I didn't think that was their general criteria. It might be, but someone else I'm at college with, and he was doing like double maths, physics and chemistry. He was obviously predicted A stars in all of them, and he already had his A star in A-level maths, and obviously I was predicted 3 A stars and he didn't get in, and the same thing was his GCSEs. And I think it is a little bit stupid that a lot of your like decisions based on your GCSEs, like you could see how much progress I made. Like my grades weren't bad, I just didn't get any 9s. Well, media studies was an A star, so like that is kind of, but you know what I mean, like my grades were not terrible. It wasn't like 5s and 6s. There were like extremely strong grades, and like something like French, which was a 5, that could have let it down. But that wasn't my fault. That was like the teaching at the school, and it was a subject I didn't want to take, but you had to. So yeah, that was kind of like the main reason. The other thing they just said was, yeah, it was just very competitive and things like that. But a lot of questions I got was like, oh, you didn't get in because of media. And I think I addressed this in my assumptions video, and they do not care what A-levels you've taken. I emailed before I even applied going, will my media studies A-level affect this? And they were like, no. And this actually shows that I have a really good skill set anyway, having a variety of A-levels. So if you're sat there thinking, oh my God, I don't know if I should apply, please don't take my advice and base it on my experience if you don't have like those GCSE results I mentioned. Like it can be different for everyone and different for courses and colleges and years and stuff like that. So yeah, just don't hold it to that, but also don't panic about what A-levels you're taking. What A-levels will your brother be taking? My brother's going to be taking geography, politics and business. Which uni are you going to? I'm going to Bristol. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this up in a minute. So this is your last chance to ask any questions that you've got. I'm going to end this at 5:30. So yeah, if you've got any last minute questions, feel free to type them. But if not, why did you choose not to reapply? I don't want to take a gap year, and to reapply, I would have to basically take the next year out and then go through the whole process again. And to be honest, I just don't think it's worth it. Like, I'm not that upset that I didn't get in. Like, I'm not like my dream to go there. I literally did my mocks in May, got the results in June, and my form tutor pulled me aside and was like, I think you need to be moved into this tutor group. And in the July, I obviously went to the open day, and then by September I'd applied, you know, so it wasn't like a decision. I wasn't upset. So I just don't see the point in me reapplying to Cambridge, because I don't want to take a whole year out and then probably not even get in again. Like, what's the point? How are you? I'm doing really well. How are you? Which unis did you apply to originally? I applied to Cambridge, Bristol, Manchester, Bath and Surrey. I was actually really fussy when it came to unis, and I decided very early on I didn't like campus unis, but I applied to 2 of them anyway, because it kind of got to the point where I didn't have time to go look at other places. How do you know what enrollment is and how it works? I'm not sure what you mean. I mean, for my college, enrollment was like where you went in and just showed them your GCSEs and they confirmed your A-levels. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this up here. So thank you so much for watching. If you made it through the whole half an hour, please do let me know. I would love to know if you've been here since 5 o'clock. But thank you so much to everyone who did stream or like tune in. I will be back here same time next week at 5 p.m. And next week's going to be talking all about driving. So I passed my test in March, very luckily, before lockdown. And obviously I've done the theory, the whole practical, everything like that. So next week I will be doing a whole stream, same thing, all about driving. I've got some questions already, but if you do have any others, just leave them in the comment section below, not in the live chat, otherwise this will disappear. But yeah, thank you so much, like I said, for watching. New video at 5 p.m. on Saturday. That's coming out all about actually, what is my new video? I've forgotten. I've like scheduled so many. Oh, it's a life update. So yeah, life update Saturday at 5 p.m. Gosh, I've scheduled so many videos. Yeah, video on Saturday, and then I'll be back here 5 p.m. on Wednesday talking all about learning to drive and everything like that. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, and I will see you all on Saturday. Bye.